coalition of civil society organizations and youth groups are protesting at the National Assembly, demanding the immediate passage of the Electoral Amendment Bill with a focus on mandatory electronic transmission of election results. Now, the coalition under the banner Occupy NAS say the action is aimed at avoiding rigging and at strengthening transparency and restoring public confidence in Nigeria's electoral process. Former presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, who also joined in the demonstration, spoke to our correspondent.
We are certain that, but we need to address our concerns about this country and the election. What we want is an electoral process that is transparent from beginning to finish. Our demands about the amendment is simple. Let us have an amendment that allows first, let no qualification of people who want to contest the election. And that qualification must be advertised. So if anybody says, I went to this primary school, I went to this secondary school, I went to this university, people are supposed to know about that. And that process has to continue through party primaries and everything. And finally, the election must be transmitted electronically from the polling booth direct. We don't want any point any longer. Let people watch it. That's what is happening in South Africa. That's happening in Ghana. That's happening everywhere. The giant of Africa have refused to be giant in anything. We cannot continue to shame Africa. We now want giant of Africa to be true giant of Africa. And the only way we can do it is to live a transparent, honest life, starting from our election process.
Lawyer and public affairs analyst AbdulKareem Musa joins us from Abuja for more on the story. Mr. Musa, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, let's find out how significant is this Occupy NAS, that's the hashtag being used. How significant is the process in shaping public pressure around the Electoral Amendment Bill as it regards electronic transmission of results?
Yes, I think that this protest is very significant in shaping this agenda for electoral reform, because over the years, Nigerians has been relegated into an abyss, what can otherwise be described as a bottomless pit as a result of bad governance. And the only thing that can represent hope or an aspiration for a better Nigeria is an electoral reform that is capable of engendering free, fair, and credible elections. Nigerians are justified in their protest today because Nigerians are simply asking to have a say in who wields power. Nigerians are not asking to diminish the power of government. Nigerians are not asking to water down the power of government. They are simply asking to have a say and determine who rules them. And there's a cloud that has been cast on the integrity and the expected transparency of the Senate and the National Assembly, because the aspirations and the clamor of the Nigerian people is very clear and simple. And anybody who is either technically or directly opposed to this desire and this aspiration of the Nigerian people can be simply described as being diametrically opposed to the growth and development of Nigerians and the Nigerian states.
Well, AbdulKareem, from a policy standpoint, what impact would mandatory electronic transmission have on election credibility, if you will?
The impact of mandatory electronic transmission of election result is that every Nigerian, irrespective of their geographical location, would be able to see the votes that are being cast on election day, so that the INEC does not announce a result that is different from what represents the votes of the Nigerian people. So anybody who is interested in the growth of the Nigerian people should be excited about this development and avoid all the technical issues that are surrounding the transmission of votes electronically.
Why do you think this process is being stalled at the National Assembly?
Well, for obvious reasons, corruption and self-serving, self-centered politicians have found a way, because of the privilege they have to be at the Senate today, to scuttle this procedure of electronic transmission of vote, forgetting that while it is a mere privilege for them to be in power today, tomorrow other people may be in power and they may be the persons yearning and clamoring for power. So to simply put it, it is the self-serving, self-centeredness, and selfish primordial political sentiment that is driving the Nigerian Senate to close their ears to the aspirations and the clamor of the Nigerian people.
Okay. AbdulKareem, what do you think the significance is of Peter Obi being present at the protests?
Yes, I'm a human rights activist. Ordinarily, I would have been there. But I did not hear these politicians, the people who are aspiring to take key positions in government, agitate for this protest. I'm very impressed by the presence of Mr. Peter Obi at that protest ground, because they are the persons who are directly involved in aspiring for position of power. They should be leading the other Nigerians who are less involved in terms of political participation. So it is very commendable. The other politicians who are aspiring to be president or one position or the other, especially at the national or federal level, who are not participating or raising their voice in favor of this electoral reform, can be classified, in my view, as jokers. And we can see that there is no difference in the leaders that Nigerians are complaining about and the leaders who are keeping mute, because this is a fundamental case, a fundamental issue at the center of our electoral system.
A final question, AbdulKareem. We've seen protests in Nigeria. We've seen how they go. Do you think this is a realistic endeavor? Do you think this will realistically influence legislative action?
Judging from the experience I have from protests, I cannot honestly say that this protest can have impact on the clamor of the Nigerian people towards electronic transmission of results. But I can only hope that the Senate open its ear to the cry of the Nigerian people, because Nigerians are tired of this rhetoric of unachievable promises of a better tomorrow. So for whatever it's worth, the protest may not have any impact immediately, but certainly it communicates something to the Nigerian Senate and to the leaders of our nation that Nigerians are tired, Nigerians are dispirited, Nigerians are morose, and Nigerians are clamoring for a better Nigeria where everybody will be treated equally and fair.
AbdulKareem Musa, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Thank you.